So I've got a bunch of prints that need to get done today, but we're gonna make 3 of them here that are all logos for one guy. This is what it looks like. A lot of black and white in these. I'm gonna make one of them and then I'm gonna pack all 3 and show you how I do all of it. So we'll get these out of the way here. I'm gonna set them right over here. And I'm just going to bring this here, grab a cutting knife and get rid of all of this excess paper. Don't need it, I don't really want it. Gets in the way when you're trying to do other stuff. I'm gonna grab my panel, I'm gonna grab all 3 if I can. Pull them out. Okay, I've pulled this plastic off. That is the protective layer to keep these things clean. I just like to make sure that there's nothing on this panel at all. Looks good. Paper looks good. I'm just gonna drop it right on. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly. That's why I put a bleed edge around it, so I can see everything and how straight it is. If you don't have the bleed edge, you won't be able to tell where everything is unless you had registration marks, but I don't have those. You also need a bleed edge because the panel apparently expands in the heat press, and if it was printed just perfect, you would get a border around it that you would see when it's done. Take my heat tape, just take a bunch of this and I put it all the way around to make sure that nothing can move on here when I put it in the press. Put 8 pieces on every corner and every side. All right, that's done. As you can see when I lift it here, nothing really moves, and that's a good thing. You don't want anything to move at all. I just noticed I heated this thing up at 11 o'clock earlier, and it's still hot. It's 1:30 now, so 2.5 hours later, this thing still stays hot. But I'm gonna take this paper, I'm gonna put it in here, flip it actually, put it this way, and then I'm gonna take my panel and just put it right in here. I'm gonna take this paper, I'm gonna cover it up, and I will let I'm gonna let this machine heat up for probably 10 minutes. It'll be ready. It just popped. I don't know what that noise is, but it always does it. Once it's heated up, then I can press it for 5 minutes and it'll be done. While that machine is warming up, I'm gonna build the frames for this. I'm gonna build one frame. I'm just gonna take these corner brackets, I'm gonna slide them into both sides. I do it all the way around, putting them all in. And then once that's done, I just tighten all of them down sort of loosely. Slide these 2 in, slide the bottom, and I take the bottom and I just slide it upwards so that everything goes in right, and I lightly tighten all of these down. I don't do too much on the first way around. I go kind of at an angle. I don't know if this matters, but it always seems to help. One thing I have to do is always make sure that these corners line up perfectly, because if not, you'll have sort of a sharp edge. They are sharp where they cut them, so if they don't meet up perfectly, I guess you could cut your hands. Sometimes they're not cut perfectly though, so they're kind of like this on the ends of them or a little bit off. There's nothing I can do about it, but get it as close as possible and it seems to be pretty good. Then I just go around and I crank down every side as tight as I can. I've run into a pretty big issue recently. The tape that I was originally using for these frames that came from the company was 3M. Apparently is not that great. I had some problems with customers' frames actually like coming apart off of the panel after a week, a month. So I got new tape. This is 3M VHB foam tape. So it's got a little bit more of this like cushioning on it that allows the metal on the frame to stick to the panel, and that cushioning allows it to not come apart when the metal bends a little bit. Because it's aluminum, it does want to bend. It's not perfectly flat. So if it's not stuck on with cushioning, it kind of just comes off. I didn't realize it. I didn't know that was going to happen. I've been using it for months, made a lot of prints with it. So hopefully most of the people that bought stuff don't have a problem at all with it. But moving forward, I have to use this stuff. Very expensive. This was $160, I think, $170 for this roll alone. Doesn't last very long, but testing some other suppliers, from China that make 3M VHB, supposedly. Hopefully, I can get it a lot cheaper because this stuff is expensive. It seems to be working really good though. I've used it on a bunch of customer stuff so far and had zero issues. I wish I had known earlier that that tape was going to give me problems, because I bought a bunch of it thinking it was great. I mean, it's very sticky, but I guess after a couple weeks, it kind of just, the corners start to pull a little bit, and that could be not good if it fell on somebody. So I don't want that. This is just one of the things that I'm trying to make an upgrade on. There's a bunch of stuff this week. I've actually shut my website down and I'm not taking any orders at the very moment. If you're watching this, it might be back open, but I want to make the product as perfect as possible. So right now I'm going through and sparing no expense on anything, getting it as nice as I possibly can, starting with the tape. Doesn't matter how expensive it is. If it's good, it's great, it'll work, I need it. I don't want to use stuff that's just okay. It needs to be perfect or I'm not doing it. It's all done. I'm gonna pull this paper off here, see what it looks like. It came out great. I had to use an AI photo enhancer to clear this image up. The other photos the customer sent me were clear, but this one wasn't. So just had to touch up the letters basically so that they were nice and crisp. Sometimes that's what happens when you blow up a photo too large. This one came out pretty cool. We're gonna put the frame on it now. I'm going to take this paper, just lay it down so that I can lay these prints face down and have no issues with scratching it or getting dust on it. And then I use this paper that I'm putting down. I think it's called glassine paper. I don't know. I use it to protect this, and then I cut it and I hold it to it so that there never gets any dust on the print after this stage. I will say I don't like this tape. Trying to peel it off, it's hard to get at with your fingers because it's like plastic, and with the foam you can't really grab it. You can't pick at the corner and get it as easily. So I just marked both those corners, 2 inches in and 2 inches down. I have jigs for these. I actually received them, but they're in my apartment and I don't feel like going to get them. So I'm gonna keep using the ruler. The ruler's pretty fast. I mean, I only mark it down, check one side, check the other, recheck it one more time, and then it's good to go. But I will use the jigs because I paid for them and someone went out of their way to make them. So I might as well use them. I showed you the first print as I made it. I'm going to show you these other two. This is this one. And then I set it down lightly. And then there's this one. Both came out really good. These two look fairly similar, but I thought they looked really cool. All the black, everything printed nice and even on them, which is really important. There's no like fading or different like spots in them or nothing. They look really good. I'm going to take this roll right here, this big foam roll. I'm going to lay it out here and I'm going to show you how I pack these things up. So lay this out. Flip it over. I leave a little bit of a tag here. Just enough so that I can fold it over, but not all the way to the frame. Pretty close. And I can just roll it once. I always start face down because I pull it, and then I now have double layered protection over the front of this, just in case anything was to happen. I don't know how it would inside a box, but you always like to make sure. I'm just taping this down. I had to grab a new roll of tape. I put that there and then just slide this over. This is not a good system for putting this foam on at all, but it's all I have right now because I don't really know how else I would do it. This roll would get in the way if I had it any other. Like if I had it mounted right here, it'd be in the way all the time. I could probably get a rack and just take it on and off for doing this, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference. Till that happens. Cut it, take the tape, and I just pull it tight so that everything sits nice and snug and it's not loose at all. I tighten it down and that's all set. Nice foam padded up. Now I'm going to take this cardboard pad, and this is what I tape the panel to. So the box that it goes in is 26 inches by 20 inches. This is 36 inches by 24. So I'm gonna cut this down 26. This is not always easy to do. It doesn't have to be perfect though. So usually just cut it. I can kind of follow some lines on this cardboard, but not very well. And then this is the way that is always trickier. So I cut that at 26, and this one's gonna get cut at 20. A lot of times when I do this, I have to kind of just shim it after to make it work because it's not perfect. I also have to cut 3 of these. Okay, so that, and then let me just see if this fits. It could probably be shimmed a tiny bit. Not much though, like just a hair. Just enough so the customer doesn't fight to get it out of the box after. Because right now it's like dead perfect. Next thing I'm gonna do is put these corner protectors on. The customer reached out and said that their print corners were damaged. I think I had 2 of them reach out maybe, which is terrible. I don't like to get that email at all. I didn't know how to solve it, so I started with these cardboard ones. I'm still not sure these are going to be perfect for keeping things undamaged. So I've got foam ones coming that are a bit harder. I think that'll prevent it from bending. And then I've got different boxes I'm gonna start using as well that I think will protect these prints a little bit better from the corners getting bent. I actually don't even know how that really happened in shipping. I'm also gonna put fragile stickers on the box to try and see if UPS or USPS will stop throwing them around so much, but that's not as, I'm not relying on that as much, I guess. But so far with these corner ones, I haven't had an issue. Nobody's reached out and said there was a problem. For the longest time, there wasn't a problem without corner protectors at all, but past like week and a half, a couple people reached out and said that corners came bent, so no good. Also, this just looks a lot nicer in the packaging when you open it up. It looks like someone cares more that they protected the corners. Then I'm gonna take this bar and I'm gonna put it in here. This is what I used to hang on the wall. And I put screws in here as well, along with a business card type thing. And that is all I need. I put gloves in here as well, and then it gets taped up. So we've got the envelope thing I always put in here with a business card in it. That is getting updated. I'm gonna get different type of business cards, smaller, a little bit cleaner. And then these gloves just get put in. These are for grabbing the prints so you can get fingerprints on them. And then bag of screws with, I forget what they're called. They're just for screwing into the sheetrock. I also have tape coming, so I can tape everything down in these things so that it'll be a little bit more clean when the customer gets it. It's not just a bunch of piled up stuff in the box. I want it to be nice and organized. Stacked everything in here pretty good. It's a very tight fit. I don't have any other boxes, but I'm hoping this should work good. I packed everything up pretty well. I bought this tape dispenser here, so now it wets the tape for me and I can measure out to whatever length I need it to, and it just cuts it, just like that. This tape saves so much time. I used to cut all of it and then have to wet it myself, and that never worked well. I'm trying to think how I'm gonna do this. There we go. And then I just like to tape up all of these sides all the way around, just in case. And then I'll probably do the 2 bottom pieces, and that's it. That is all packed up and ready to go out.